welcome to your Financial Legacy podcast. I am your host, Maria Ellis. On every episode, I will bring you my perspective and the perspective of my guests on financial and estate planning and real estate related topics. Here on the Financial Legacy podcast, we're changing lives one person at a time by creating your own financial plan and financial legacy. To help you create and enjoy your financial success, connect with us at financiallegacy.live for your complimentary consultation. Today, we're having a special guest, Leah Lugo. She's an artist and a designer. She's the founder of Light Era Studios. Leah is a Dallas based virtual artist, chair designer, and an artivist, reflecting light on creatives and topics of our times, current, past, and future. Leah, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on the show, Maria.
This is exciting. Please tell us about you, your experience in the lighting industry, and in what areas do you specialize? Your residential, commercial, or industrial?
Yes, so thank you for asking that question. I'd love to share my thoughts. I'll start from the beginning. I want to say first that I feel like God really puts you on the path that you're supposed to be on, whether you recognize it right away. And from that moment, you really start to forge your own path and are able to make those decisions. I believe that right out of college, just designing a website that I was asked to design for class really started leading me on this journey, because that was when I created Light Era Studios. And it's funny how lighting has always been a part of me ever since then. I don't know exactly why I chose it at that moment, but it was almost like it chose me. And so skip forward to now, I've designed art all the way up until now. It's always been related to light, how light reflects. So I've been very interested in lighting. And then I got an opportunity one day by the Dallas Market Center to come on board as their marketing manager for the lighting industry, because they have three industries: apparel, home and gift, and lighting. And the job had miraculously just opened up days before I asked about the position. So things changed very quickly. And that was my intro into the residential and commercial lighting industry. And I was running marketing and the events for Lightivation, which is the largest residential lighting show in the nation, and based right here in Dallas, Texas.
Wow, that's quite exciting. Quite a
Yeah.
career so far.
Pardon?
I said that's quite exciting. You have had quite a career at a young age.
Yes, very exciting, eye-opening, with the ability to actually serve the lighting board of governors. So these would be made up of all of the presidents, CEOs, and big decision makers for some of the biggest lighting manufacturers in the nation, and actually in the world. And so with that, I've had the opportunity to accelerate the growth of my learning in the lighting industry. And this year, actually, I will be planning to take the residential lighting training course by the Joe Ray Burrow, who is the lighting designer professor at the University of Kentucky and works with the American Lighting Association. So I quickly was at the hands of so many professionals and leaders in the lighting industry very early on.
So that's perfect. So you have been working closely together with both the lighting manufacturers as well as the retailer.
That's right.
Yeah, tell us what percentage of the products are manufactured in the US versus overseas, and how is this affecting the supply chain?
Well, I think like any industry, everyone's been pretty affected by supply chain at this point, all the way down to the food that we eat. But I would say majority of the people that we're working with, these manufacturers, are residential lighting. And then with that, probably about 50% of them are also working with commercial lighting, or maybe even hospitality. So restaurants, hotel chains, condominiums. And then as far as where their manufacturing goes, a lot of manufacturers will manufacture right in China, some in Indonesia, some in the Philippines. I think at the end of it all, a lot of the lighting components will come from China, as there are only certain manufacturers who can make those pieces and parts that are needed to complete a lighting fixture, pendant, chandelier. And there are a few, though, that manufacture fully right here in the United States. And I actually had the pleasure this week of visiting the Las Vegas market, and seeing some of those lighting showrooms, one of them being Hubbard and Forge, which is out of Hubbardton, Vermont. And in their showroom, they actually teach and educate the buyer on how they produce their lighting, and all of the companies that they work with in a very nearby vicinity, no further than maybe Idaho or Pennsylvania. And it's really impressive to see that they are fully manufacturing within the United States, on the most sustainable level that you could possibly produce. So
Yeah,
that,
you just said a magic word, sustainable level, and also the value added that this company is providing to clients in terms of educating the client base so that they could better use the products.
yeah, and so they've actually had no real issue with supply chain at this point, and that's also what's making them such a leader in this industry right now. Also, I don't want to take away from the fact that they produce very very beautiful artistic lighting pieces.
Mhm,
So when you're buying a piece, you're buying a piece of art as well, and
exactly.
everything is forged, and then glass blown right here, or here in Vermont. So
That's very exciting, right? To actually go and see how these pieces are created. That's awesome.
it is, yes. I'm very excited. I'm actually planning a trip to go there in May to Vermont, and hopefully interview their entire team. So very exciting.
That will be awesome. Make sure you stop by New York City and let's have some fun together.
Absolutely.
So, tell me a little bit about what do you think is the most value that you provide and why? And also, what are your plans? What are you planning to accomplish in 2022? What kind of big projects do you have underway?
There's a lot of exciting projects underway right now. So I think one of the first areas that I've been able to add value to the lighting industry on the residential and commercial side, has been being able to promote these manufacturers in a way that it gets them in front of the buyer at the exact time when buying is happening. So having worked at the Dallas Market Center, this lightivation, lighting market only takes place twice a year. And this is a time and one of the only places in the nation where all of these lighting companies can show their lighting showrooms at the exact same time. So that if you are a showroom distributor, a wholesaler, a builder, contractor, or designer, you're going to be at that show. So I had the ability at that time to market these and promote these manufacturers, and help really bring their new lighting introductions to the market at the very beginning of the year, because this takes place in January as well as in June each year. So with lighting pieces, they can be very, they're hard goods, they're heavy, and with that, you have certain times of the year that you would want to purchase these products, and then it's going to take a little while for them to come in, and then you display them, merchandise them. And so another way I've been able to add value as well is being so connected with these buyers, these showrooms. You know, there are only so many lighting showrooms across the nation, and actually a good majority of them are also in Canada as well, which there's been a bit of a challenge there because of COVID-19 and the border closing. So just over the past couple of years, I've had even more time to build stronger relationships with those here right in the U.S. But being able to connect them with the buyer. So when I know that this showroom likes this certain type of lighting, or they like this price point, I can lead them to the correct manufacturer to help, that that connection happened very quickly.
Yeah, that is very important. That's your, unique ability. Something that you specialize in. Being so close to these manufacturers and being part of these twice a year shows. Have you noticed if there has been much in terms of innovation in the lighting industry, and if so, how?
Oh my gosh, yes, this is a rapidly evolving industry, and I think that's why I love it. I love change, I love adaptation, and so I would say the biggest innovation has been moving from incandescent bulbs to LEDs. There's always pros and cons to everything, of course. But by doing that, you now have lighting that can last 20 plus years, and you may never have to change it out. You've reduced your energy consumption, which again, that's much more sustainable. I would say the con of using LED lighting would be that I am seeing more and more manufacturers who want to integrate the LEDs into the fixtures. Sometimes you have the ability to fix the LED maybe strip that's integrated into the piece, if they modulate it in that way. But if not, then that means the whole fixture is now not it's not going to work if something happens to that LED strip. So I think, just as any designers, any industrial designers, you're going to quickly figure out what works and what doesn't. And I think that there's a lot of beauty and positivity and sustainability going forward with using LED lighting.
Yeah, that's amazing. As you may recall, we have a nice residential place on the beach on Singer Island, and we renovated and we are using LED lighting in some of our pieces, and they're really beautiful because you could monitor the light in terms of, if you want it strong or light, or so, if you want it, it's just you could manage the intensity of the light, and it is really beautiful. And some of the pieces are so well designed that they actually become a centerpiece in the room.
It's
So,
absolutely true. The ability to have access to color temperature with LEDs. I think there's a common misconception that if someone goes with an LED, it's going to be a bright white. But most manufacturers make, as the installer puts it into your home, you would choose at that moment if you would like white, or a more warmer tone to the
right,
light. And now, with so much smart home technology entering and collaboration with the lighting industry, you see color selection, full color selection. So I have Philips Hue in my home, and the ability to have any color I'd like and be able to set timers if I'm not home, so that people think I am home if I'm away on vacation or a work meeting. I have that ability to do that. And the really cool thing with lighting is that it starts to get to know your circadian rhythm. It knows when you wake up in the morning. I mean, you can do so many cool things with lights to help benefit your work schedule, your home schedule, your life schedule. And one other thing I want to mention that I find so fascinating, my grandmother has dementia. And one thing that they've started to realize with lighting, and especially tape lighting, is that when you tape off the perimeter of a doorway with tape lighting, it actually can help those with disabilities or dementia, help reorient them into finding where they are supposed to go. And I just find that, like, the possibilities are infinite for lighting.
absolutely. So, Leah, tell us, what should architects, developers, designers keep in mind, to create that warm and delightful lighting, to enable them to create a perfect ambiance. For instance, how does lighting reflect in the marketability of, let's say, a new condo building, or let's say even a refitted office building?
Well, I'm not a lighting designer. I would love to get there one day, and that is definitely a goal of mine. I think you asked previously, what were some big things that I had in the works. you've taught me actually to always set 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goals and work up to that achievement. I would say, although I'm again not a lighting designer or not certified, but my best advice would be to set the home to an ambiance and a comfort level that makes it comfortable and inviting and welcoming. So you would want to use more warm tones. Whereas if you're an artist and you have a studio space, you do want more of a bright white. You want to use up to 4,000 or 5,000 lumens in order to truly see the true color of maybe acrylics or oils. And then also, again, with that smart home technology, you have the ability to use in maybe a recessed lighting piece. And another cool technology actually with that is that now, instead of these big candlelights that we're used to seeing, you have the option of a new retrofit, which slims down that can and allows you to quickly install even by yourself without an installer. But by having these recessed lights around, you create more of a room light, an ambiance light, and then you can add additional fixtures. And this is where there's so much beauty in the products that are being designed today. Like I mentioned, Hubbardton Forge, they have very artistic pieces. So you don't have to rely on that one fixture producing and illuminating the room. You have all of these options to combine both a recessed light as well as a pendant, beautiful pendant, or even a floor lamp by your bedside or your couch sitting. And I think by using a combination of these lighting products, you really create the environment that you want to welcome yourself into your home as well as your guests.
Absolutely. And in continuing with that same thought, should every room in the home be designed differently? If so, how should part of the residence be, keep in mind the lighting design? How should each part of the residence?
That's a really good question. I would say, so I think every home is unique to that individual because we all live our lives differently. So many of us now are working from home, and so many of us have families and children, or we're looking after parents, or parents are looking after us.
Right.
And so with that, I think as far as lighting is concerned, because there is such a wide category of these products, you really have that option to make it unique to your home. I would say, on the note of every home being the same, I think it is important to have those recessed lights, especially because I see sometimes more and more there's a trend to knock down walls instead of put up walls to create an open environment. And you don't want the light just going everywhere. So having those smaller recessed lights, originally they were all 6 inch. Now you start seeing them going to a 4 inch. And now you can even buy them in a 2 inch. But the ability for the illumination to spread is pretty wide, even with 2 inches. So having these in your home, I feel like is absolutely necessary. There's an amazing company actually called Bullbright, ran by a woman named Kathy Choi. She's incredible. And they have been helping, families, residential, commercial, be able to install those types of lights easily into the home. They create beautiful bulbs. And actually at this point now, all LED bulbs. And actually on that note too, I might as well just add, not to go too far on a tangent, but you now see these LEDs look just like Edison bulbs. You would think it was an incandescent, but it's not. And so you can get any size of these Edison bulbs as well as tubular ones. But back to every home, needing something, I would say it is that recessed lighting, because you want to light the whole home. Then as you pick the products you want, that's really where you're creating that ambiance.
Yeah, that recessed lighting really comes in very handy as you are entertaining and having a nice dinner and you want to have, certain effects. It's just lighting and is so part of our day-to-day life. So I appreciate you taking the time to actually talk to us about this. Tell me, Leah, if you have not chosen the lighting industry, what other career would you have chosen and why?
Yes. So actually, I've just recently started with Light Era Studios. a video podcast where I am going and interviewing the most unique individuals within the lighting industry, from lighting designers to manufacturing sales directors, all the way to the people on the floor of a showroom, and really better understanding residential commercial lighting. Because I think there's a new wave, there's a new generation of buyers and home buyers and renovators that are coming up. And I don't think enough people truly realize that they can go to their nearby lighting showroom, or even a kitchen and bath showroom that may also offer lighting, and not necessarily need to go to a big box store, maybe like Home Depot or Lowe's. So there are so many options, and I really want to bring light, pun intended, to
Right.
to that message that there's options, and there are people out there who really are certified in lighting and can give you the true advice that you need to create a home full of beautiful lighting, as well as kitchen and bath products. So I'm going to be working on this podcast. It's kicking off actually this week. And so far, I've actually had the opportunity of working with a company called Accord Lighting and another company called Veriluz Lighting. So I just want to let everyone know those are two great manufacturers, very heavy into the sustainability, and looking forward to see where we can push the boundaries of lighting design as well as sustainability within this industry.
Absolutely. Both of those are very, very, very important. Any final thoughts that you like to add before we close?
I would just like to say that, this is an amazing industry. If you're ever interested in trying to figure out where you want to go in life, lighting, once you're in it, you never leave. It's a tight-knit community. It's a tight-knit family in a lot of ways. And I'm so grateful to be a part of the lighting industry.
Well, thank you, Leah. In closing, I would like to thank you for tuning in to the Financial Legacy Podcast. To learn more about how to work with me, go to financiallegacy.live. For a free lighting consultation, contact Leah Lugo at www.lighterrastudios.com, or you can call her directly. Her mobile is 404 867 3192. Here on the Financial Legacy Podcast, we're changing lives one person at a time to help you create and enjoy your financial success. Connect with us at financiallegacy.live for your complimentary consultation. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Maria.
In providing answers, neither Maria Ellis nor the Financial Legacy Podcast and guest speakers are acting as certified financial planners, advisors, certified financial analysts, CPAs, economists, accountants, or lawyers. Neither Maria Ellis or the Financial Legacy Podcast and guest speakers make any recommendations as to any specific securities or investments. All content is for informational and general purposes only and does not constitute as financial or legal advice. You should consult your own tax, legal, and financial advisors regarding your particular situation. Neither Maria Ellis nor Financial Legacy Podcast and guest speakers accept any responsibility for any loss that may arise from accessing or reliance from any information in this podcast. And to the extent permitted by law, we exclude all liabilities for any loss or damages derived directly or indirectly arising from the use of the information.